This is an Andy's Randomness special report. Reporting now, Andy Pollock.
We are coming on the air with an important breaking news story, and that is Representative Joe Kennedy III has lost his bid to become a United States Senator. Joe Kennedy III, the current congressman from Massachusetts, who's 39 years old, lost to incumbent Ed Markey. So we are going to get into this huge news. This is completely shocking that a Kennedy has lost tonight. Senator Edward Markey defeated Representative Joe Kennedy III in today's Democratic primary, harnessing support from progressive leaders to overcome a challenge from a younger rival who was a member of America's most famous political family. Markey appealed to voters in this deeply Democratic state by positioning himself as aligned with the liberal wing of the party. He teamed up with the leading progressive, New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, on the Green New Deal, and at one point labeled Kennedy a progressive in name only. That helped Markey overcome the enduring power of the Kennedy name in Massachusetts. The 39-year-old congressman sought to cast out the 74-year-old Markey as someone who was out of touch after spending decades in Congress, first in the House before moving to the Senate. In the waning weeks of the campaign, Kennedy leaned into his family's long political legacy in Massachusetts. His pedigree includes former President John F. Kennedy, former U.S. Senator and former Attorney General Robert Kennedy, his grandfather, and former U.S. Senator Ed Kennedy, who held a seat in Massachusetts until his death in 2009. Markey countered by leaning into his own family story growing up in the working class of Malden, who with a father who drove a truck for the Hood Milk Company. In one campaign video, Markey also paraphrased a famous JFK quote saying, "We asked what we could do for our country. We went out, we did it. With all due respect, it's time to start asking what your country can do for you." Markey also found himself on the defense at times during the campaign, with Kennedy repeatedly trying to portray him as having an ear to racial equality concerns. So, this is interesting. Markey was in opposition to desegregate the Boston public schools in the 1970s. Now, this is interesting. Markey helped aim a black senator to the Massachusetts legislature. So, it's much of a background, of course. We won't go into it, but the big story is now Markey will move on to face Republican Kevin O'Connor. So that is the major news. Once again, Ed Markey does hold on to a political upset in Massachusetts, because it looked like that Joe Kennedy was going to move on, but it's very, very interesting here how close this vote was. Ed Kennedy barely won by 8.5. Ed Markey, won only by 8.5 points, which is amazing. Look how close this is. This is just remarkable here. Okay, so I think with that, we are going to wrap up this special report. Thank you for watching.